Hey, welcome to Failcraftcast. I'm Hammy, hope you're well and good. This is our Hearthstone half hour for today, and we're going to be taking a more in-depth look at the Mech Tempo-ish Priest, put together by none other than Marine King Eisen. And if you're on YouTube, look in the description below for a deck list. If you're on Twitch, this is live in the chat. So I like this deck list. It's a bit of a different priest. Mechs and priests, there's some real solid synergy. Every class in Goblins versus Gnomes. Hearthstone's first expansion has got some nice mech cards, trying to encourage you to play mech with your chosen hero. So, nice combos here. It's not really going, this deck, as we jump on in and just take a look at it. What we're always going to do is what we always do on a new player Monday. We're going to jump in, we're going to take a bit of a look through the deck list and see how it works. We're then going to throw it in some ladder games or casual games to test it out and see how it works in practice. So, lots of priests. Deathrattling priests, very familiar. Starting with the Undertaker, which of course gains 1/1 attack and health for every death rattle thrown down. Lots of priests you'll see like that, then controlling into the mid game, throwing down big minions in the late game. Ragnaros is not uncommon and similar. What this goes for is something a little bit different. It's trying to keep control in the early to mid, but it's more tempo-y, it's more controlling. It is trying to make sure that it makes trades. It's got something good and solid to trade with. It can have quite a strong early to mid game push with the mechs. However, it's not just relying on that, it's still got a mid to late game threat as well. So take the Mech Mage for example, that will burn out with a lot of these cards in the early game, or the early to mid game. This still has quite a lot in store when you get to the 5 mana on mark. So that's kind of our main difference. When you're thinking mech in other decks, you're thinking rushy mech, that's been quite common. There have been some mid-range shamed mechs. Think of this as a mid-rangey, tempo-y priest. So how does it actually work? Well, we start in the early game. If we take a look at that mana curve, we've got a lot sort of early to mid, not huge amounts in late, but we want to make sure we can overpower our opponent. As Marine King Eisen's fabulous Hearthstone guide is, I'm going to link to that in the description, make sure you have a look. You want to be making good trades at every point in the game to make sure you're in control, but you're in control so that you can do damage to your opponent's face. And it's very well summarised in a deck guide I've read. Think every time that you trade a minion when you could attack your opponent's hero to the face, you're effectively healing your opponent for that much damage. That's a very interesting way of thinking about it. Controlling a minion does cost in terms of how much you're accelerating your opponent's demise or setting yourself up to win. So if I don't hit my opponent for 6 to the face, yeah, I'm kind of healing. I'm letting them off that 6 damage. I'm kind of healing them. Very, very relevant in this deck. This is not aggro early game. If you play this too aggro in the early game, you're going to suffer a little bit. It's certainly mid-range. If you look at the mana curve, the amounts of 3s, 4s and 5s that you're going to be dropping in terms of mana costs. But then in the middle to middle late game, it's still got some steam, but it's not fully super late game. If you get in a control game against a control get to the real late game, you're probably going to be struggling just because of the amount of cards you are having. So silence. Firstly, if we drop a silence, this is to basically help you snowball. It's to help you get ahead, or if you're ahead, to help you stay ahead. You want to get going, and then if you can get ahead, like a bit more minions on the table, a better table position, silence will either get the position into your favour or help you keep it in your favour. And as you can see, as you go through this mana curve, you've got threat upon threat upon threat upon threat, bigger, until hopefully your opponent's thrown so much from over it at you, or traded so many minions. When Sky Golem and Foe Reaper and Vol'jin drop, there's not really much they can do with them. So if you're going to think of this deck simplistically, go for that. Targets for silence, bunch of things. You can be throwing at enemy Undertakers, for example, stop those getting big early. Get against 2-for-1 cards, Harvest Golem, things that spawn things on a death rattle. Because it's 0 mana, very nicely put by Marine King. You can throw it down as well as going for your game plan. It doesn't interrupt, you don't have to sacrifice mana or playing a minion to get that away to slow people down. Powered shields, you can throw those on just about anything. If you get turn 1-2 combo, throwing it on an All-Shire Cleric gives your opponent a big fat removal target that they will probably go for. But otherwise, buffing any of your minions is pretty solid. Shadowwood Pain for control and removal. You're going to be removing a bit more with minions in this than you are spells, so no problems with having 1 pain rather than 2. But 2 death because lots of big, as Marine King indicates, lots of big minions, Doctor Booms and similar handlocks flying around. You are going to see quite a lot of stuff with 7 attack or above, or indeed in this case 5 attack or above. I'm thinking Big Game Hunter. Shadowbox, interesting choice, the priest only card. Whenever characters heal, deal 1 damage. This will help in two ways. These low-cost mechs help you get a Tinkertown tech out turn 3, so you need a turn 2 or turn 1 mech, ideally, so you can get this out turn 3. But basically, because it's 2-3, if you get procs with this against Zoo or anything, all well and good, but you're not actively trying to heal things to get that to deal 1 damage to a random enemy. If it works for you, if it happens to happen, all well and good, but you're not trying to force the heal proc off this Shadow Boxer. It's just the fact that it's a mech that will sit on the table and hopefully stay there long enough with that 3 health to let you get a Tinkertown tech out. So see this as being a trading mech. It's to get you table position and to get out your Tinkertown tech. It is not necessarily for triggering that actual ability. So don't try and force heals off the back of a Shadow Boxer. Upgraded Repair Bolt. So strong. Firstly, you get the 8 heal, of course, keeping you alive and good. And then, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong card actually. No, upgraded Repair Bot, giving a friendly mech 4 health, buffing any of your earlier mechs and making them nigh on unstoppable. With 5 attack and 5 health for 5 mana, it's a strong card in its own right anyway. That is very much like a Lotheb or something like that. You can throw it down on the table and it's just going to help you make trades with other strong minions. And a good evening to Black Cat, Phil Mitchell, Mouldy, good to have you, and Sparta joining us live on stream. So jumping back on in, upgraded Repair Bot, just so strong in terms of buffing up not only your any other mechs, and by turn 5 you're going to have other mechs on the table, but also you'll make a trade for those 5/5/5 stats. Very nice indeed. Holy Fire, use it for healing up, use it for zapping whatever you need to get out the way. Just the 1, it is situational, you may not get it when you need it, but if you have 2 then that's probably going to club your hand. You want to be getting minions on the table with this deck as much as possible. You've got Jeeves in there, bit of a backup plan. If you suddenly have an empty hand, then drawing 2 or 3 cards is that acceleration that can get you into the position you want to be in, or if you're in a good position, get you in an even better position indeed. And then as we get in, Vol'jin, good of course from Goblins versus Gnomes for removing or trading health. Remember that you trade Vol'jin's 2 health with whatever you decide to swap in, so it could be a big tank, it could be a big giant, anything in your way that's nasty, Vol'jin will help you remove. And 5 mana, you can probably get a card with 6 attack and pretty high health, providing you make a good swap. Last but not least, Pilot to Sky Golem continues that curve, and the Foe Reaper. This was actually called Reaper Holy 4000 by Marine King Eisen. And this deck I believe has a legended. It's been lots of fun. So the Foe Reaper, I got this in one of my first packs of Goblins vs Gnomes, and I love the look at this card. Very awesome. Hater Noble T as well. Good to see her. So I love this card. Basically it does splash damage, also damages the minions next to whomever he attacks. Best thing to do with this, of course, if you hit the weakest minion and let the splash damage the stronger minions, then you're doing the same amount of damage as you would to the strong minion, but by attacking the weakest minion and hopefully splashing the strong minions out the way, you are preserving Foe Reaper's health, healing the Foe Reaper, powered shielding the Foe Reaper. Also nicely, because of that 6 attack, it does enough damage to be painful, but not enough to be within the range of Big Game Hunter, and lots of people are splashing a Big Game Hunter in their decks at the moment. So always very solid. So that is pretty much this deck in a nutshell. What we're now going to do is chat through it, and we're going to play it. I've not been going for massive legend this season. I think we're sitting at rank 10, so I'm perfectly happy to jump in. Rank 9, okay, so I'm perfectly happy with a couple of days left of this season. Why am I screenshotting my deck selection screen? What I really want, of course, is the screen with the actual deck list on. So what we really would like to do now is just jump on in and show it in action in a few matches, so you can see a bit about how the deck can run. We will of course be learning this together. I've played similar but not this precise deck, so there will probably be some mistakes. All of you folks on YouTube, please do correct. If you're live on stream, please do correct. Comment as well. We will make some mistakes, but we will learn together. So we will hopefully show off a bit in terms of an introduction as to what this deck can actually do and where it can go. So as I get my overlay up, let us get ourselves a match made and jumping on in. Make sure we pick the right deck, don't leave the wrong deck being selected, as I do have a habit of doing in the past, a tad on the embarrassing side. There is our Mech Priest. We'll swing that into position, and as we jump on into our first game, we can have a little think and a little chat about mulligan strategy. So, what will our mulligan strategy be? And to Investus Uther, we are Paladining nonetheless. And remember, we said we were quite happy with the Northshire Cleric into a Shadow Boxer or any of that kind of start. So we're going to go for pretty much of a typical Paladin with like Cleric, Mech Warper, Shadow Boxer, Dark Cultist, and Spider Tank. Anything that costs more than 3 mana, we're going to toss back. Back goes the upgraded Repair Bot. I do not need 2 Northshire Clerics, so I'm going to toss 2 of those. Quite happy with this start so far. In comes Dark Cultist. Okay, so I've got my ramp, no problem. So we don't have a Technician, that's a little bit of a pain. We want to make sure we're throwing down card by card by card by card and putting pressure down. So Paladins at the moment, we have seen a bunch of stuff. Do I want to be coining into a Shadow Boxer? No, I can coin into a Spider Tank next turn. Throwing down the Northshire is fine. My opponent is going to be quite tempted to remove that. It's a big, big target. Down goes an Arabian Egg, interesting. I'm not quite sure what kind of deck our Paladin is playing. Coining into a Cultist could be strong. However, if I throw down a Shadow Boxer and can set up a Tinkertown Tech next turn, that's going to be a really strong intro. So I'm going to get that down and we're going to start tapping away. I was tempted to coin into a Spider Tank. If I can keep the Shadow Boxer sticking to the table, then Tinkertown Tech goes down next turn. And with that lovely reinforce, we now know that my opponent perhaps is going for Muster for Battle, Quartermaster. It could be a Quartermaster style Paladin. I am quite happy to get that down and put the pressure on. So what do I want to do here? Well, I can actually just, I want to remove this and this. So I'm going to be tipping those away. I haven't, of course, gone to my opponent's face. I'd like to control my opponent's minions as much as possible, remember, whilst trying to go for face. So reason for removing that Silver Hand Recruit is because a lot of Paladins right now run Muster for Battle. That's summoning 3 1/1 Silver Hand Recruits and the 1/4 weapon, and then they throw down a Quartermaster which buffs all of the Silver Hand Recruits by 2/2. Then you have lots of 3/3 minions, very nasty. So in that comes, we're going to see a few more trade attempts going down. A heal here is not actually too bad for me. Right, decision time. Do I Dark Cultist? Do I Spider Tank to compound my table advantage? Or do I throw down a heal and start the chip damage going? Well, a heal will help me chip damage and I can trade all of those off the table, but it then leaves me, sadly, with less table control than I would probably like. But I can actually coin into that heal. So I'm going to do maybe a slightly suboptimal play here. I'm going to heal and hopefully get a chip onto the one of the... whenever a minion is still do damage to... Oh, typical. The one minion I didn't want to be doing the 1 damage to. I did, however, get the heal with the Northshire Cleric, so not all bad indeed. So I'm going to tap all of those off the table. Remember that because I've got the Shadow Boxer on the table, I'm at risk. If I heal anything, then I don't really want to chip that off the table. It kind of takes me back a step. So now, notice when I was talking about our longer description, when do you go to face against when do you control? So now I've not gone to face for several turns. I've kind of let my opponent off a bit, and I don't want this to go to late game against a Paladin because I will be struggling with various different things. So upgraded Repair Bot feels pretty good here. I don't want to be healing because I don't really want to chip that off the table. So upgraded Repair Bot into Piloted Sky Golem, giving this mech a bunch more health. Again, I would have preferred a bigger and nastier mech on the table than that, but now I'm going to start going for face. Remember, if my opponent gets a Tyrion down, then I'm going to be struggling. Paladins enjoy the late game, and I should have probably gone a bit more aggressive to face in this early game, I'm thinking. In comes an Equality, probably into a Consecrate. It's going to remove everything. Very frustrating, very good control play there by my opponent. Got everything sorted. However, next turn I can drop a Piloted Sky Golem and we can increase the pressure again. So, options here. I don't want to be holy firing too much. I don't want to Shadow Boxer down right now. I'm quite happy to throw down a Piloted Sky. In fact, yeah, let's go for a Piloted Sky. Other option, of course, throwing down Spider Tank into a Shadow Word Pain for removal. I'm going to be attacking to the face with this. Holy Fire I've got for big removal, Shadow Word Pain for small removal. 4 health, not of course huge, there is vulnerability here. In comes a Blessing of Kings, and there we have it, that's going to get removed. We're going to see the 4/4 Arabian come up. In comes a Demon Caller, not going to be huge amounts of use, of course. Void Caller for me. One to the face. So in comes a Shredder. Options for me here, can't quite remove that, but the Holy Fire is a good removal piece and I can just go straight for face. Keep the pressure on. Getting down a Spider Tank would be very, very nice. Getting down a piloted shredder would also be quite nice. So it depends whether I want to just remove that with a nuke or save my holy fire. Decisions. Spider tank and shadow box would really set me up quite nicely. And of course, remember, whenever a character is healed with Shadow Boxer, that's going to be doing the random chip too. Okay, I'm going to go instead for... I'm going to go for the nuke play. Let's just get that off the table. I'm going to attack the face. Shadowwood Pain still kicking around here. That Argent Squire has been slightly awkward. Not really got my opponent down enough, so if we're going to lose in this game, it's because in comes the control plays. We did not get aggressive enough, I think, in the early game. But remember, of course, we still have the Foe Reaper in the bag, so the more removal my opponent is using, the more problems we'll see. But you can now see these Silver Hand Recruits stacking up. I do not want a Quartermaster to hit the table, even though I've got one Shadowwood Pain. That could cause me some problems. So, nicely, I've got a lot of nice chunky minions I can throw down here. So I'm going to just go mech crazy, throw all of those down and say, right, I can put some real pressure on your face. I can heal up with my Shadow Boxer. Northshire Cleric can only remove one of those, unless he has another Equality and Consecrate combo. So, and remember, of course, he will be taking a little bit of damage as well. And the real question is, do I go face or not here? In comes the box, gone for the Shadow Boxer. So I have to go for full-on removal. In comes this swing there, heal 2, take 3, net loss of a health. Down goes Dr. Boom. Nasty. Now where is my Shadowwood Deaths when I want them? Shadowwood Death is exactly what should be here. It's exactly what we need. But we cannot do that. So I'm going to be taking a boom to the face. That's never a good thing to have. Shadowwood Pain. Well, I can remove a boom bot, but that's likely to hurt me. Let's remove a boom bot. Okay, well that gives me the option of actually then throwing down one of these. I can heal up to see if I get any other options. In comes a silence. Silencing Tyrion Fordring would be the best thing, and I know that Tyrion is going to come. I'm not really too worried about silencing that boombot. Jeeves is not going to let me draw. Finicky Cloakfield will preserve me in case I want to draw more, but I can throw down Jeeves for a draw of 3. So we're going to go into that piloted shredder. I'm actually just going to keep going for the face and say, look, hey opponent, what you need to do is come to me and put some pressure on me. Now you see we've got to the late game here, we're in danger because we know what Paladin have, and indeed I had seen the Dr. Boom. I fully expect a Tyrion Fordring at some point or another. We can silence it. In comes the heal. Restores a chunky 6 and then into his 3. My opponent has a full-on table. And actually, now we can see it's just bringing the fight straight to my face. 2 Shadow of Death we have in this deck. We're not seeing either. It'll be a very handy time for one of them to show themselves at this point. So silence is still not really going to hugely benefit us here. I have to start making trades the other way now, which is not the position this deck really wants to be in. I can remove Dr. Boom, that's doable. Jeeves will then let me refill my hand and I can drop a little silence. Do I want to be forcing a card draw? I think removing Boom is all well and good, but then we're still going to have a lot of damage on the table. What I can do as a little draw here is do this. I just want that Shadow of Death. Powered Shield is not going to help me survive. I can draw another card if I want with the PWS. Out of those two, which can I keep alive the most? I'm probably going to see if I can buff this up, but I'm really just looking for a Shadow of Death. I can drop a Mech Warper into a piloted shredder as well. Silence is still not going to help me here. So I'm going to try and set up the trade now. Going to do that, but let's get Dr. Boom off the table. In comes a... oh, your spells cost 1 less. That's very convenient. I'm going to get Dr. Boom off the deck. Alas and alack, still left some things on the table. In comes the Mech Warper, which means I can play 2 of those. I can drop that in. What do I want to try and keep in play? I'm going to throw down the Cloakfield on... nothing, because I was too slow. So we've still got from my opponent 10 damage on the table there, so that's going to be rather painful. The Paladin here has got to the late game and therefore we're at a disadvantage. This silence has not benefited me in the early game. We're going to see Northshire Cleric removed, just forced me from draw power. Gonna see double trade there, no problem at all. In comes the Bombot, 4 to the face, very painful indeed. Couple that up with another 9, and then we could have an Avenging Wrath. In comes Tyrion. Silence was good for that reason. I can silence it and remove it, but I'm not going to be able to remove all of these minions. So we're in tough position here, no doubt about it. Silence, exactly what we wanted. That's going to help me remove Tyrion. I cannot quite remove as much as I would like here. I can certainly remove most of it, but not all of it, which is saddening. Well, first things first, I feel we should probably take Tyrion out of the equation. In comes a light well. How convenient. At the start of your turn, restore 3 to a damaged friendly. Well, that will help me live a little bit longer. I'm going to strafe all that off the table. We've only got light well left. I can then hit for 1 to the face. Now, 2 options. I can heal myself up further, which is probably the wise option, or I can allow a trade of my light well off the table. Well, this Mech Warper isn't hugely going to aid me. I'm going to take a risk. This is what Jeeves is for. But of course, if my opponent has 11 worth of burst, then I'm in trouble. But you can see, now I can swing in with another 3 cards. Shadow of Death finally shows, along with Powered, Shield and a Vol'jin. So if anything big does hit the table, so danger. Danger if we get 11 burst to the face, we're going to be down and out. Danger, why we're in this position, most important to have a look at, we did not get huge amounts of damage down in the early to early mid game. We weren't chipping away probably at face enough, and when I come back to it again, this is where this deck will succeed or fail. You need to be able to make the trades against going for the face. It's not so burning in terms of aggro, but you can see in the late game we've struggled. In comes a Pyromancer, maybe an equality hitting the table. Consecration does 2 to all. My light well is of course stealthed. It's not going to, but we'll then see the additional 1 which removes that. In comes a Reinforce, and then 5 to the face. We're in a tough position, and of course my opponent then benefits with the draw also, which is the little hoisted by your own petard of Jeeves. You do not want to be healing yourself, your Jeeves for 4 in this kind of situation. So, Shadow of Death will remove the 5 attack or more minion. Play 1. I've got a mech. So, Powered Shield on top of Jeeves, well, I can keep him alive for the long term. Vol'jin, swap health with another minion. I can get a stronger Vol'jin, I think. Would that be a good plan? I need to have more health. I need to get my health up. I'm going to have to trade away. Tinkertown Tech is not going to be the play. I just have to get this off the table and hope it doesn't get buffed. So I can do that. But I probably want to keep G so I can draw more cards. In fact, I'm going to go for the Tinkertown Tech rather than the Vol'jin. Gonna remove that. 2 health. I've already healed myself. Gonna have to Powered Shield something to keep it alive for a little bit longer. I don't mind if Jeeves dives now at this point. I'm gonna keep this in the game. I'm going to try and finicky Cloak a Field as well. There we go. End of turn. I'm going to get 1 extra card, Dark Cultist, lovely, Mechanical Yeti. Forgot of course the 1 card draw. So 6, there's very much a chance of that being bursted down. A Blessing of Kings, an Avenging Wrath. The quality is going to clear the whole deck for us with a Consecrate. Blessing of Kings does 5. Okay. Down goes an Argus and gives the 6, so that's a well played. We are very close there, very close indeed. Couldn't trade both of those minions off the table, so we're down to rank 10 there. But I think that's a really good illustrated first game as to how this kind of deck can work. So we're going to go now into our second game, where we can see a little bit more about how this can work. So what did we learn from that game? Well, we saw the deck's theme working kind of well. We managed to get something out most turns. We had what seemed to be a very reasonable start. The problem we had against this particular matchup, we did not get our piloted shredders. That Shadow where Death could have come out a bit sooner, but the real challenge was that we didn't get enough damage on the enemy here in the early game to put pressure on. And then they took the mid game. We never saw the Foe Reaper, but I think the real problem was Hunter. Okay, so Hunter wasn't the problem, but Hunter is what we need to have a think about. We have got a better curve against a Hunter if we can survive. So we'd like a Shadowwood Pain, we'd probably like a Silence. We just need to get rid of an Undertaker. None of this is hugely awesome. We don't have anything. I'm going to get rid of all of that against Hunter. A Silence would be good, but we want Cleric, Mech Warper, Shadowboxer, Cultist, Spider Tank. Got Spider Tank, got Cleric. Okay, that's going to help us. We just need to shut down the Undertaker if this is doing a standard Hunter job. So I'm going to go straight in for it. I can coin in to a turn 3 Spider Tank if I need. Turn 2 Spider Tank into a turn 3 Tinkertown Tech, and that should give me enough. In comes a Steam Weed or Sniper. Interesting, we cannot trade that off the table this go. So in this case I'm going to be coining into a Spider Tank and then Tinkertown Teching next turn. If my opponent wants to trade my Northshire Cleric off the table, he's more than welcome to, she's more than welcome to. So we're in a good place. But let's see. In comes an Arcane Shot, that's going to be 2, and then perhaps see a spell, and then not quite a full trade. Okay, removes the mech, no Tinkertown Tech turn 3, and actually going to face with that Steam Weed or Sniper. So, mixing it up with our beginning. Don't want to really be Tinkertown Teching without any kind of follow-up. However, unless I want to try and turbo into a card or into a Jeeves, this play feels as though that there's going to be a straight-up removal. Not ideal in the slightest playing that Tinkertown Tech. But we've not seen Undertakers, so it could be that this is a control Hunter, in which case we need to really grab a control of this game by the mid-game. I'm looking into an upgraded repair bot. It's a shame we've not got the mech down. Down goes a secret. We're just going to see another version of this play. Removing that down, and again going for face. So if it's a freezing trap, we'll see it ping back to face in short order. If it's an explosive trap, so I'm actually going to go for this. If it's a freezing, yep, there we go. I don't mind having that back in hand too much. I can then just go for a direct trade here. And then if we drop into a shadow box and heal ourselves up, that's going to do 1 damage to a random enemy. We can set up a little bit of fun chip damage there. But the important thing is here is that we're actually set up now for an upgraded repair bot into turn 5. Vol'jin, don't need at this point. Equally valid play, of course, could have thought about bouncing that Tinkertown Tech back up to hand using what we thought the freezing trap might be. That would then mean that we could play it after the mech. Steam Weed or Sniper hits the table, and we have 2, 4, 3, 3. So upgraded repair bot can start letting us make some trades with the mech. Vol'jin, I don't think that it's quite the time. There might be a big thing to hit the table from our opponent here. So how can we get some removal going? Jeeves, it's not the time for Jeeves. Upgraded repair, well, slapping that onto... Could upgrade the piloted shredder. Upgraded repair, that will give us a 2-7, which will be really chunky. Could throw out some very nice heals and trades next turn. However, that can get pinged off the table with everything next turn. Let's go with a piloted shredder and a little tap to face and see what happens. Feels as though I should have just gone into upgraded repair there. Let's see if my gut instinct was a bit better. My gun instinct was upgraded repair. At least we have Fire Reaper. In comes a 3 direct removal with an Eagle Horn bow there, leaving the table clear. Let's see what the random 2-mana cost minion that we get is. Oh, a Murloc. Well, that's not going to be too scary. That's going to allow pretty straightforward removal. Steady shots into something trading in with some health to spare. And we'll probably then see a trade to this to remove the Murloc. Leaves 2 on the table. So far, so expected. Holy Fire. Now I've left myself in a position, you see, which is not quite so ideal, because I don't really want to remove any of this. The upgraded repair bot is not going to be hitting anything. Should have dropped the upgraded repair, because the 5/5 stats would have given me the trade. So error. We have messed up there. Holy Fire I just don't like using in this kind of table state. Can certainly nuke my opponent to the face. Playing a naked upgraded repair bot feels like a waste of a repair bot, indeed. But I don't think we have huge choice. I don't want to be dropping a Vol'jin. That would have really helped us. Okay, so mistake play there. We should have thrown down the upgraded repair bot on top of the Shadow Boxer, and that would have given my opponent something to think about. Could have also thrown down the Northshire Cleric. So we can see a 2 damage coming in, then for perhaps a 3, and comes an Azure Drake. Opponent getting very good table control here. Not very nice indeed. So we're going to see 2, maybe the Steam Weedle Sniper will go, or another control play to the face. No, in comes the Steam Weedle Sniper. We're going to see... Saving the weapon? Saving the weapon. Okay, so Foe Reaper could still get removed. We've still got a bunch of mechs here. Challenging now. I think we're just going to have to Holy Fire that off the table. We'll get the healing. Now, throwing down the Foe Reaper, we can see if my opponent's got control. If they do, that's going to get removed fairly fast. Down goes the Savannah Highmane. Now, let's swap health with another minion. That would have been nice for the Holy Fire, of course, and now that's a problem. So... can remove for secrets, can remove for secrets, can Vol'jin in to encourage a trade, can just simply Foe Reaper and say, okay, what you gonna do now? And of course if I could Foe Reaper into an upgraded repair bot, we're in happy territory. Going to try out Vol'jin, let's get a nice 5 there, drop into that. And we'll offer a simple trade. If he wants to trade that for that, he's more than welcome. I need to get a Foe Reaper down, because as soon as I get a Foe Reaper down, I'm going to start wrecking this table. There we go. Encourage the simple trade. Not ideally not what we wanted from Vol'jin, of course. 2 beasts on the table. We're getting to the stage where we can almost Jeeves. I have a feeling if I throw down this Foe Reaper, it's going to get controlled. And there's a piloted shredder, we really need Foe Reaper. Even Foe Reaper last turn would have been good. Okay, Shadow of Death not really going to help us with any of those things. Let's YOLO it. Harvesting servers are engaged. And of course, we'll see what opponent starts to do with that. Now, probably a hunter would look at face. Look, you've got 5, 7, 9, 13, 15 damage. You just go to face and probably not worry about the Reaper. Instead, a secret's gone down. If that's a freezing trap, problems for us. Big problems in Little China. I'm going to see a big bunch of things going to my face. Need a heal to our own face. With 6 left to go, there's probably no way we can now combat that. A little bit frustrating. Dark Cold is not going to help, we just don't have enough heal to get through all of this now. Sadly. We can bounce ourselves back to 8, but there'll be enough to kill us on the next turn, I think. I just cannot see the trades that will give us that. So, struggling with a bit of heals here. Just for curiosity's sake, let's see what we can do. This is the fun if you get the Foe Reaper down, or maybe Foe Reaper down an earlier turn. Freezing Trap goes down, it's definitely a loss for us. So, challenging stuff. Let's get one final game in and see if we can break this deck in terms of learning. So again there, start not awful. Silence would have been useful. Again, I think maybe dropping that Foe Reaper a turn earlier rather than messing around. And I think the one key problem there was I should have played that upgraded repair bot on top of that Shadow Boxer. Instead we lost the initiative. That would have got me a 5-5 on the table, and for some reason I think of the upgraded repair bot as being the antique heal bot. It's a 5-5, it's not a 3-3. It's got 5 attack and 5 health, and that big minion on the table would have probably, I'm not saying it would have won us the game, but it would have certainly helped. A big welcome to Umbra and Zono. Welcome to you. So we're playing another Hunter. So got the Silence, want that, trade up everything above 3 mana. We're going to go for our Standard Mulligan. Let's see if we can have better luck against this variety of Hunter. We just need to shut down the Undertaker if we see it. And let's see if it's a similar Hunter to last time. See if we can close out our games with a win. Going second with a coin in hand as well. Vol'jin again, Mech Warper again. That will help us accelerate a Shredder in on turn 4 if we save the coin. Good evening to Tilly, Zano and Umbra joining us all live. So, our hunter mulling over. While our hunter mulls over, let us use the catapult functionality of this map. Remember, of course, you can wind your catapult back as well. So, coining into a mech warper, dropping another mech warper into a piloted shredder. Hyper aggressive, feels a bit dodgy. Hyper aggressive feels a bit dodgy. Hammy says, why not? So, well, we could actually turn 2, we could throw that down, and then this would cost 2, we could play it on turn 3 rather than turn 4. A swarm of mech warpers. But we'll very soon see how our opponent is going to be coming out. Are they coming out with death rattles and little minions? Are they coming out like our last opponent with more of a control-y hunter style? And Control Hunter has come back a bit with the Steam Weedle Sniper, of course. The ability to effectively do a Organised Soul Priest, deal 2 damage to minions as well as to your enemy hero with steady shot is pretty nice. And hi to Ermac as well, joining us live on stream. If you're watching on YouTube, twitch.tv/Failcraftcast, come join us. So our opponent mulling things over, of course. Do remember, of course, no pressure to play too fast. If you're working things out, you're working things out. Okay, so just got 2 to the face. I'm going to, you know what? let's piloted mech and Jeeves. Now we can't do both, but we can certainly piloted shredder next go. In the absence of anything else on the table, I'm just going to keep on trekking. Or keep on trucking, depending on whether you like Star Trek or trucks. Hey, Euro Truck Simulator, very popular game. Trucks are in. But then again, so are goats and surgery, if you take all of the simulation games to heart. It's a little bit sad. We're going to lose 1. But we're not going to lose both. Still means we can throw down that piloted shredder. So in terms of attacking our opponent to the face so far, interesting decision here. Shredder or Yeti? I'm going to say Yeti. More health. Same amount of damage. Not going to get that 2-drop. Every chance that Mech Warp will get removed, but then we can still play Shredder next go, and we could do forward Yeti. So this feels a bit better. Feels a bit better because we're getting a bit more damage to our opponent's face earlier, and hey, it always feels nice against a hunter, not gonna lie, when there's nothing on the table. It does feel a little bit, it's a trap though, I must say. Very suspicious. Here comes a kill command, Yeti gone. Of course the little web spinner also turning into a big beast too. However, that kill command that is being put into killing that Yeti is not being used to kill me, and therefore I'm glad. Very glad indeed. Spider tank with an armor plating could be nasty for trades. I quite like the thought of a piloted shredder. Silence, I'm going to keep the silence. The one beast that the danger is with a web spinner, it's going to turn into a King Crush. That 999 charge or something evil. A King of Beasts could be nasty. Gazira even. The minion that doubles in attack every time it takes damage. Yeah. There's lots of nasty things that can come out of Web Spinner. We'll soon see whether choosing not to throw a silence on it is the right play or not. So, as our opponent mulls over, for those on stream, don't go away after we finish this game. We're going to be doing another deck. If you're on YouTube, check out the other stuff, youtube.com/Failcraftcasts. We're going to be doing a Paladin deck. After this, taking a look at Strive Crow. Comes an Arcane Golem with a 4 charge, and if that goes into my piloted shredder, then I'm happy. Instead, I think my opponent now setting up to go for face rather than anything else, which is what, of course, they should do. Dark Cultist going down. Nothing really for me to Volge in here. No way for me to burst that web spinner out of the way rather than a direct face trade either. So, silence, I can silence that to punch through and make a trade. I think that's a nice solid play. This is where I'm quite happy to now throw that silence down because I want to get to that Arcane Golem. It's going to do me nasty damage if I leave it alone. Now I'm not too far down the way, so I'm going to just make a very naked bid here, very obvious and transparent bid for table control. I'm going to try and make this backwards and forwards. Now, if I start taking more damage to the face, I need to get that heal in. Remember, we've got Holy Fire, just the one that can nuke a big minion. And now we see my opponent's game strategy becoming clear. We have a fairly nasty but standard Rush Hunter, and we're just going to see face, 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 face. So, my strategy now becomes a bit more simple. Clear out my hand, make some trading plays, get myself healed up, and then my opponent will have lists that they can do. So, down this goes. I'm going to take 4 to the face here. I'm going to take another 1 there, 1 there. Now I have to heal here. Really against the hunter, Jeeves is risky. So I'm going to throw this down. I'm going to throw that down. Give my opponent options. So now my opponent, remember they've got rid of 1 kill command already. They'll have another kill command. My opponent wants to sacrifice that for a secret of some description. Down comes an arcane golem. It's going to take the pressure. Okay, 4 to the face again. 2 to the face using steady shot. Usual hunter rushness. So hopefully we can close this out. Hopefully I can swing this in our favour. First things first, Holy Nova, very nice, clears the table. I like that indeed. Also, heals, restores health. There's no better card we could have than Holy Nova. Right, now let's face test this to see if it's an explosive or a freezing. Explosive, and of course Holy Nova first. Keeps all my minions alive, rather than them all dying as well. Now, do I heal myself up? I can play ultra safe and heal myself up, or I can Jeeves in for the win. I'm going to play probably an ultra safe and do 9 here. Now, Jeeves would have given me another 2 cards in hand. That might well have given me something like the Holy Fire or similar that would have got us right into the good position. It's going to take me 2 turns to win at this stage, but we're playing super, ultra, hyper, mega safe Remix Deluxe. In comes Animal Companion, if that is going to be a Misha, which it is. That's a bad news bear. Misha is a bad news bear if you're playing against her. I believe Misha would be her. Oh, we get a little bit of Deathrattling in the late game, so we are not done and dusted yet. However, although it may be a little bit of a crude example, this is where Volgin is awesome, because I can be like, aha! You know that 4 health you had? That's now become 2. Good luck with that. And you know I can destroy you using that, and then one of my minions. Oh, good luck with that. And so I hear you like Undertakers. Good luck with that. So still not in Happy Town. If that was a kill command, we'd be skating on thin ice, but with this table position it's got to be a charging piece of horror. Oh, secret. Now that could be a freezing. So, very simply, another steady shot to the face. We're going to face test that for a freezing. If it's an explosive, we are just short of victory again. A little bit frustrating. But here's where we can have a bit of fun. So, let's heal ourselves up. The upgraded repair bot will keep one of my mechs alive. And then, if explosive, this lives. It is. Okay, ooh, still a little bit close. But, we managed to just push through. And because we've got that upgraded repair bot, we managed to push through for the win, so there we go. So, having played a couple of games, got a little bit used to things, got ourselves a victory at the end there. And actually against a deck that could have caused us problems, although the Rush Hunter there was having some problems getting himself out and running at the start of the game, we still managed to push through there, a little bit better control, managed to cadence our minions, drop things every turn in the early game a little bit better. So if you're on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. That was our Hearthstone half hour look at none other than the rather interesting little priest, Holy 4000 Mech Priest, some Marine King Eisen. Thank you very much. You can have a look with, if you're on YouTube, take a look in the description below, or you can take a look at the link that will be on this screen just here. Take a look at the top left for a quick 2-minute guide, or you can also find the deck list as well. Take a look at the top right if you're on YouTube, if you'd like to see some more 2-minute videos, Hearthstone half hour longer descriptions as we do like these. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're on Twitch, don't go away. If you're on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, chuck stuff in the box below, and hopefully see you